what comes in the kit. This is the pattern here, the Morning Glory. This is for the throw quilt. You cannot purchase the pattern separately. You must buy the kit. But this is very interesting of the fabric cut. Congratulations. You are one of only 1,000 quilters in the world with access to this exclusive quilt kit. As the owner of the Morning Glory limited edition quilt kit number 206 out of 1,000, you've also supported the Hospice Promise Foundation, helping to bring comfort to those at the end of life's journey as well as their families. Of course, you have the backing, and I believe this is the binding. Is this the binding? I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look at it. I just pulled everything out. These are the squares. These are the delightful, lovely fabrics, the floral fabrics in all of the different rainbow tones here. This kit at the end of the day will be put on point, which means we're doing row by row on the diagonal, which means we will have some bias edges here, but again, I will show you how I stabilize those bias edges. Now, I'm going to be chain piecing these blocks because again, it says here, make quick work of these units by chain piecing. And again, it gives a QR code or you can go to a website here, a demonstration to show how easy it is to chain piece. Again, this is a beginner's kit. Since all of these are pre-cut, the instructions are making block number 1 and then block number 2. And as you can see on the pattern itself, it's a very regimented, what is the word I want? A very, not symmetrical, not regimented. It's a very same block that we're making 2 different ones, okay? Hopefully you get that. It's not as scrappy, as random as it would be if you're just pulling your scraps. We've had the pre-cut kit. We are making the throw. The instructions are quite clear here. There's either the 20 for the throw size that you made blocks, the 36 for the queen, or you'd need to make 42 of each for the king size. It gives you the 3 sizes. But as you can see, hopefully you can see that, I've pulled out for block number 1, I have pulled out this lot here. Okay, it shows, let me just show upside down. It shows the yellow, the peachy color, the blue, and the reds, as it were. And then I've paired it with the oranges, the blues, the pinks, and the yellows. And again, these are a little bit softer than the block number 2. I've split the 6.5 inch squares pretty much in half. And then I'm going to be chain piecing, taking all of my yellows, 20 of them on one side, and then I'll be taking, according to the instructions, 20 of the blue on the other side, like so, like this. And again, you can see how well these are cut. So I'll just chain piece 20 of them along, 20 blue. There, I'm going to start chain piecing my 20 yellow on one side, as you can see here. And then I will go and I would chain piece the blue. What I'm doing now at my machine, I'm going to be chain piecing my yellow pretty side of the fabric to the white fabric here, which is either side. I'm going to be doing 1/4 inch, and I'm going to be doing 20, which they have supplied me with 20 of these yellow pieces. So simple, that is the first step here, 20 chain piece. So now that I have my blocks, my 20 yellow, what it tells me to do is now to add the blue for the number 1 block. So I'm at my ironing board right here, and what I've done is I've brought over my 3 lots of components for my block number 1. I've chain pieced them all. This is how my block is going to end up looking, according pretty much to the pattern, which, as you can see here, the yellow, the peach I deem, the lavender, the pink, the blue, the pink, and the sort of the peachy color. Okay, that's that. I will be making 20 of these blocks. Now, what I've done is I've pressed my fabric to the outside, to the dark on the middle piece here. Okay, I've set my seam, and then I've pressed these inwards. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take one of my units here. I'm going to set my seams. It's very important to do that. Move this over here. If I'm in the frame, yeah. I'm going to set my seam like that, and then I'm just going to roll that over neatly, like so, nudging it over with my iron, like so. And then I'm going to take my top piece, which is going on the top, as you can see here, and I'm going to set those seams, and then turning it over like so, I'm going to press those seams inward like that. I'm just going to press them inside. So when we go to put these on, we are nesting the seams. These are going inside, and those are going out. I take my top piece, press that really well, flip it over like so, and then just nudge that up like that. Turn it, nudge that up like that. And then that goes like so, like that. So then when we sew this, our seams will nest beautifully. I have 20 of these blocks. They are exactly the same. As you can see that, these blocks are exactly the same. You're going to end up with 20 of block number 1, which I sort of almost deem as like warmer colors as such, sort of. And the others are quite similar, but they're a little bit more cooler of the colors. Here I am with my 20 block 1 and 20 block 2. Now the instructions say for my throw size, select 8 of block 2. Okay, I'm going to pull 8 of these. I've already done 3 of them. Make sure each measures 10.5 inches, which I did. They are beautifully, because they're all pre-cut. It's pressed well. As you've seen, I pressed them very well. Set one of those blocks aside. For later. Using a rotary cutter and a long quilting ruler, carefully cut the remaining blocks in half from corner to corner as shown to create 2 large triangles. Now, I am going to be cutting these in half, but because when I cut them in half, they're going to be on the bias. It says be very careful because this block will stretch. So what I'm going to do, it's not on the pattern, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a pencil, and I'm going to make a line from diagonal to diagonal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my machine, an extra step to help these from stretching on the bias. I'm going to be sewing about a 1/16 of an inch away from that cut line. That will just, when I go to cut this on the line, that will stabilize my two pieces. Now that I've stabilized with a stay stitching my block number 2, I can go back with my ruler and I can cut on the line right there between the stitching. You can't see the stitching, I can. Well, now look at here. Up on my design tablecloth, my flannel black tablecloth, I have started to position the rows. Now I have to tell you, it was a little confusing. Not because of the pattern. Pattern's written very well. However, I was getting a little bit confused with the corner, the side triangles and the top triangles. But once I got it down pat, I understand now how these are going to go. Because I'm not dyslexic, but I have troubles with spatial things. I think that's the word. Sometimes on point confuses me, but they've laid it out very well. And now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to bore you because it's only going to be sewing rows together. Obviously, this corner, this is the first row as it was, okay? So I have this piece to sew to here, and then that seam over there to these, so there'll be 3, 1, 2, 3 in that row. And the pattern, let me get the pattern. Let me see if you can see this. The pattern shows that very well. I hope that doesn't go blurry. As you can see, this is the pattern for the throw size. And there is semblance of order and uniformity in this quilt, even though it reads scrappy, because there's 16 fabrics, sort of light and dark, which again, the instructions, let me just show you here. The instructions tell you sort of what fabric is what. So I see sort of block 1 is lighter, block 2 are a little bit more primary colors, darker, slightly. I had just a little bit of a difficult time sort of figuring that out. But once I got it, the body of the quilt is working together, and as you can see, very uniform. So I see the sort of the reds as the sort of the cornerstones sort of coming together. Do you see that? I've gotten this far. It's a little bit of a mess because I have not ironed anything. I've just sewed the rows, the blocks together. I've not sewn the rows together. Wait a second. The top one is row 1, 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. One point really gets me. It works up so pretty, but it really does addle my brain just slightly. But that's what working on point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish row 6, 7, 8, whatever it is, into the corners, sew my rows together. Matches up beautifully. And yeah, then sew my borders on. So I'm sewing my rows together, and what I have done is I'm going over to my ironing board and I'm setting all of my seams and of my blocks, of course, my rows and my blocks, and then my row. And I think that I'm on about row 4 now. There's my corner, and I'm sewing my rows together. It's a little bit funky. You have to keep track. My little triangles up in the corner, and I start here. And I'm telling you, once you get the hang of it, as you can see, hopefully you can see, I'm not pinning anything. I've not pinned anything this entire project. because the pieces are so well cut. And again, we're sort of working with these long on point, it's called rows, but my seams are nesting because of the way we've pressed them. Can't say how important it is. You're ironing, of course, I always say that, either ironing or pressing, and sewing these long rows together. Just wonderful. Really, really very, very nice the way this is constructed. See my intersections because of the way it's been pre-cut, machine die cut. Look at that. They're perfect. And it is, as I was saying, a uniform pattern, although it looks scrappy. It really does work up beautiful. So I'm going to finish up now. So I'm on row 7, and I'm over at my cutting table here, as you can see. I'm finding it easier to let me just show you my progress so far. I've sewn together the top half. I'm going to be sewing the bottom half on the one row, but I'm going to be working this way. And I know by now what I'm doing is I need the yellow up here of this block here and the red up here. So what I'm doing is I'm pinning just fairly loosely, and then when I go to my machine, I can match it all up nicely. But I'm saying, so this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then my next block is my block 1, and again my yellow is at the top, and then my block 2, which is my next block, will be the red at the top. So there's less units in this as we go along. So that, I'm on row 7, so I have, I'm gonna check, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna put another yellow at the top. There's one of them. Pretty sides together. Once you get into the groove of this, you get it. Yellow, and then it's a side piece. Row 7, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have this unit here, which the white goes out to the outside, and as you see, there's my red up here. The body of my quilt is done. I've sewn all the rows together, and right now it's time to put the borders on. They give you explicit directions how to put the 3 borders on. There's a, let me just show you, a yellow, a purple, and a white border that goes on. We sew these together and follow the instructions on how to put the borders on. But for time's sake, I'm just going to do the borders myself, and then I will show you the finished product of my finished quilt top.